All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
MotherGoose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I'm one of your hosts, HouseDog, and with me, as always, it's the hairiest host, MotherGoose.
Hello, everybody.
We're back again, and I just want to say, there was a bunch of lies and slander being spewed on this podcast last week. I wasn't here, not because I had some terrible bus accident. It's because I was golfing.
Mm-hmm. That's what somebody who pooped his pants next to his crush would say.
Well, you're not here, so how could I poop my pants next to you?
You know what? Flattery will work on me.
I know. That's why I've manipulated you for years now. It's the only reason this podcast is really still alive.
Now, I was going to say that it's only fair that we say Tucker's not here because he peed his pants next to his crush. But I'm not sure if that's the route we need to go anymore.
I think it's because he's committed a great number of atrocities. Tucker's actually on the run right now. He is being chased by police. You'll see it on your local news soon.
He is a criminal.
Wouldn't it be crazy if, he actually did just do something terrible and, whenever this comes out, he's actually being hunted down by,
the FBI.
police, yeah.
CIA, I don't know, whatever our government organizations are called.
Some type of three-letter agency.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
I mean, I do have a way to prevent the lies and slander from being spewed upon me in this podcast.
And what's that?
I think I'm going to adopt the ways of Narkina 5, and I'm going to install your house with shock floors, because I know you'd be barefoot in there.
I do be barefoot in here.
And I'm going to install intercoms, and at certain points you're just going to hear on program, and if you don't get on program, I'm going to shock you.
Yeah, because this is so much better than the basement.
It's how I'll ensure that things get done on this podcast. Oh, Elijah, you feeling a little low on your battery? Let me just charge you up real quick.
That autistic burnout's hitting? How about a little shock?
A week off from the podcast? I don't think you do. I think you need to get down there and edit, my little editor monkey.
Work, monkey. Bzz, bzz.
Yep.
Yep. Will it have 3 levels like Narkina 5?
Oh, no. You'll only have 1 level. I will confine you as much
life
as
or
possible.
Death. Got it.
Yeah. There are only 2 choices.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Well, today we are talking about Andor, Season 1, Episode 9, Nobody's Listening.
What a good title.
It really is. It really is a good title.
I thought it was interesting because obviously it's in reference to Andor screaming nobody's listening at one point during the episode. But I also find it interesting that while Andor's in a place where no one's listening, the rest of the rebels in the show are in a position where everyone's listening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was my deep thought for the day. I only have one. Otherwise, my brain will combust.
No, I think that was a really good thought, though. I hadn't actually put that together.
Well, it's what I got. You're welcome.
Yeah. The Mon Cala are actively at war with the Empire, or, hiding off on their planet. I don't know exactly where they are, but I know Mon Cala hasn't fallen. Bail and Mon are actively in the Senate. Luthen's on Coruscant. Bix is being interrogated. The Phoenix crew is right about now has probably just about picked up Ezra and are starting to actively, openly fight the Empire. Yeah, all of them are on the Empire's radar. So I think that was a really good connection.
Thanks, buddy. You want to talk about torture in the Empire?
One more thought before we move forward. They brought up the Maya Pay Brigade and the other rebel cell from last episode, Keegan? Keeger. Just to support your point a little more, the ISB is actively aware of these other rebel cells. But yeah, torture, Empire torture. This scene was awful.
But awfully good.
Oh, yeah, no. Very well made, very well done, great for the show. Awful thematically, very dark thematically.
Yeah, I like how the doctors in the Empire Age are always just terrible people.
Oh, yeah, just a casual, yeah, we genocided these people and turned their children's screams into torture devices.
Which is something that there is a program that people go through. There's like a song that they use that literally, well, it's a song, there's a song, and then there's also like noises that they've found that like psychologically break you down, that they use to train people that are captured behind enemy lines to
That's crazy.
teach you how to work through that and like how to work through being captured. And so it's kind of interesting. It's based on some real life stuff, at least.
Yeah, that's really cool and also awful.
We live in a crazy world, my friend.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Dr. Gorst?
Very German sounding, which is always interesting. He's a bad man. There's no way around it. He's a bad man.
Yeah, it's not. We've talked a lot about how, you know, the Empire is heavily based on the U.S. during the Vietnam War, but also Nazi Germany. And this isn't the first time that we've seen a very German-like evil scientist. There was the one from Clone Wars that was trying to turn the
The
water
Naboo arc.
virus into an airborne virus.
I loved him.
He was very stereotypical evil German scientist.
And I love that because he was just so ridiculous and silly. Like he had that crazy laugh that like, it was so good.
Yeah. Gorst, on the other hand, is a lot more, I think, subtle. Probably just as evil, but a little more subtle with his actions.
Very clinical.
Well, I don't know. Torture is real bad, but trying to create a virus that would kill everybody maybe is on another level.
Well, how can you compare evil?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Evil is evil at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Daedra was really, like, intimidating. Like, we see her a lot in the ISB settings where she's just amongst her peers, and obviously they're evil people, but seeing her interactions with Bix, especially the music that they used in that scene where she first is interrogating her, just sitting there like, oh yeah, this is a villain. This is a fascist lady.
Yeah, I didn't think Bix would crush or crumble as quickly as she did.
Yeah, do we know how long she lasted though?
I mean, we can't really tell whether it was a matter of hours or a day or days. It's kind of hard to judge time in TV shows, you know? Sometimes it seems like everything's happening all at once, but really it could be days or hours, you know? But it seems like she was tortured for a good amount of time.
Yeah. I feel really bad for her, but I'm also proud of her for at least lasting a little bit.
Well, that and, you know, torture's a tricky thing, because if we've seen it in Mandalorian and Grogu with Dr. Pershing, if you crank that baby up to 11, you pretty much just turn their brains into mush.
Right. And I think, you know, Bix was in this situation where the Empire was going to get the information regardless, but the longer she held out, maybe she could give Andor a chance to get away, give him a better head start.
I don't know.
Okay, so we see Vel has come back. Her and Mon are talking about just the facade that they play, and I thought it was really interesting that Vel uses the exact same line that Cinta used on her on Mon, where she essentially says, the rebellion comes first, we get what remains.
Well, it's also important to note that Mon's pretty low at this point because she had just come from a Senate meeting and she's giving this big spiel about how the PORD is like ruining lives and the Empire's reach into all affairs in the galaxy is overstepping its bounds, and there needs to be a form of checks and balances.
Right.
And I never noticed it, and I don't know if it's ever happened before in Star Wars, but you literally just hear the noise of like other senators turning off their little pods.
Oh, I didn't
Like
notice that.
they don't even care. Like you just see the lights flicker out on their pods that like indicates them leaving or not hearing the message anymore.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, so she's just come from that.
Right.
And did we know before this that Vel and Mon were sisters? Cousins, yeah.
I don't know, actually. I can't remember. I've been trying to pay attention to where that got revealed, and I definitely missed it, unless it was this episode.
I think it was just this episode.
Gotcha. We know that Mon is very, she's struggling in the Senate, but she's also struggling at home. Her family does not know that she is a rebel leader, and she's hiding this big secret. She's trying to organize funds or, hide these missing 400,000 credits. And she has nobody within her family unit that she can turn to until Vel arrives. Mm-hmm. And Vel's a little cold, which is fair. Cinta was a little cold with her. She's probably feeling a little down.
I just think that's who Vel's become.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole process of the rebellion starting and everything, is she's had to flip that switch to be something else, and that's the only really way to survive.
Right. Got to do everything you can to win.
I think it's also important that a scene whenever she first comes home and Vel and Lita are together. Is it Lita or Leda?
I think it's Leda.
She's bought her all these new clothes, and she's like, your father won't let you out of the house in those. And she's like, father lets me do whatever I want. You're the bad parent.
Dad's fun, Dad. You're stinky, smelly, bad mom.
Fun dad, stinky mom.
Yeah.
But Vel doesn't really like dig at Mon. Like their interaction is very like nice. Like the fun aunt has come to town, but she's not making Mon look bad. Whereas the father kind of opposes Mon at every turn.
Yeah.
To ensure that he's still fun dad.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, which he has a line. Well, actually, Leda has a line about Tay being Mon's old boyfriend. So we're starting to see Mon's husband. I can't even remember what his name is, but his jealousy coming through a little bit, which is very strange, maybe a little hypocritical, because he's never given me the most faithful husband vibes.
Yeah, I don't know. Their relationship is so odd, and I think it furthers that idea that we said earlier, that this marriage, I think, was one of practicality rather than choice.
Yeah. Because they got married at, I think Mon became a senator at 16, and they were already married at the time. How long they'd been married, I don't know, but clearly they'd been married really young.
And she's due to Vel and her's conversation before Vel leaves. There's some type of Chandrilan royalty.
I think so, yeah. Because she says, play the spoiled princess or play the spoiled...
Yeah,
I don't think
princess.
she said noble.
No, she said princess, you were right.
Gotcha.
So they have to be some form of Chandrilan royalty.
Yeah.
Which would make sense why her husband is who her husband is. He probably comes from some high up family.
Yeah. And then we actually do get to see Tay again, and he's brought Mon a solution. She says thug. My guess is more loan shark.
Some type of gangster.
Yeah. Which we won't see much of till later this season, but it's planting that seed.
Yeah, and I think it's hard for Mon because she's trying to keep the rebels and the rebellion as a whole kind of like a wholesome idea. Like they're fighting injustice in the galaxy and they're not as dirty as the Empire, but they are because that's how wars go.
Listen,
Nobody gets away clean.
I agree that nobody gets away clean, but when you're fighting fascism, there still is a clear good guy. And I will stand and die on that hill.
Good as a point of view.
Oh, dog.
Hey, the only way history gets written is by the victors, my friend. Good as a point of view.
Yeah, the Empire loses. Let's go. Rebels #1.
I'm just saying it's a point of view.
I'm just saying they're 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2 blowing up millions of people.
Listen, so what if the Empire lost a couple Death Stars and a Star Killer base? They were fascists anyway.
They blew up multiple planets.
Yeah! They blew up more planets than Death Stars got blown up, so...
It's time for a breakdown analysis of planets versus how many people were on the Death Stars and Star Killer base.
Maybe an episode for another time. I don't know if we could do an entire episode about that, but doing an episode on, like, kill counts, maybe?
Could be interesting.
I don't know if there's anything else with Mon's portion that I wanted to talk about. Anything else for you?
No, that's pretty much her whole thing, really. I don't think she ever comes back in the episode.
I don't think so either. Oh, there was the pilgrimage.
Oh, yeah, between Vel and her husband.
Right. It's something to do with Syndrillan culture, maybe has something to do with getting married or finding a husband.
That breakfast scene was so good, though.
It was, yeah.
Just the subtle digs Vel took at the husband while he was trying to take digs at her, I thought was great.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the digs that she made at him went right over his head.
I think he's more the type to pretend it was never said, so it doesn't hurt his ego. And he'll find a way to take that back on Mon later.
So moving to the prison, though, something that Tuck and I talked about last week is that we really feel like this is becoming Andor's show. This is the first arc where I feel like it is far more interesting Andor's story than anything else that's gone on. Not that his story hasn't been interesting, just this arc, the prison arc, is so good that I think it kind of leaves everything else in the dust a little bit. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was really sad that I missed the start of the prison arc last week, but
yeah,
I trusted that y'all could do it justice.
Thank you.
The first watch through when this originally aired, the prison arc is what saved me from finishing the show. Without it, I don't think I would have finished this show.
Yeah.
My initial watch through, this time I've enjoyed it a lot more. Just the world building and everything else. But initially, this was the one that got me on board with Andor. Up until this point, I was iffy on whether I was going to finish the series or not.
Right.
Because everything that happens there, I agree, I feel is just so vital to his story in building up who Andor is. And it's multiple instances within the prison. And a couple key points, I think, are his struggle with... I'm sorry, my brain is in a fog. Kino, his character, the struggle that they have. Kino is played by
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, thank you. I was like, I knew it was an A, and I was like, it's not Amy. His name is not
Gollum.
Amy. Yeah, I kept wanting to say Gollum.
Snoke.
Yeah, but Andy Serkis, the struggle that they go through in this episode together of Andor's trying to convince him that there is no way out of this. Like, your sentence is not an end date. Even though they don't know that information yet. And I don't think Andor really has an inclination of that, but he's like, the only way out of here is to break out, and you need to get on board. And Kino's like, I'm just trying to bide my time. I'm almost done here.
Yeah, less than a year.
So I think their struggle is very key in order to who Andor becomes, as well as losing Olaf. I think is very important to Andor's character, because we haven't really seen Andor care about anyone besides his mother.
Right.
And even then, he left her behind. I mean, he said he would come back, but he still left for whoever knows how long to that beach planet, to Space Cabo,
right.
you know? But he really cares for Olaf. And I forgot that he suffers a massive stroke in this episode.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that they did it, of where at the start where they're starting their shift and everything, you can tell something's wrong with Olaf. Like, he's lagging behind.
His
and if you've ever
not great.
Yeah, like dealt with an elderly family member that is obviously on the downhill slope of their life, like they're getting sick more frequently and stuff like that. Like, I thought they portrayed this very well, because this is like kind of how it starts. Like, Olaf's trying to help them complete the 6-sided shape thing that they're building component, and he's trying to help, and Andor's kind of doing his role as well as his. And at one point, Olaf kind of snaps at him. He's like, I can do it. Just move out of my way. And Andor's like, I know. I'm just trying to help you. And that's kind of how elderly people start acting whenever they start getting worse for the wear, is they want to do the things, but they're just not capable of it anymore. So they get very upset.
Yeah,
it's very frustrating. And you just kind of see him slowly decline through this episode, and it's so sad, because they're also at the table at one point, and Olaf asks for like the count on the table, and the guy that is at the console, he's like, we're one rack ahead, something about the other tables as well. And he's like, Olaf, I told you this 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you can tell Olaf's just like, I know. What are we waiting around for? Come on, let's go. When like clearly he was completely lost and had no idea that he had been told this information, minutes prior.
Right.
It's just so sad to see. But they also did a very good job of showing that suffering that happens whenever people get sick.
Because I think, all of the people on his table do care about him. Maybe it's not necessarily as much as you would care about a family member, but they've known him for who knows how long. He's a major part of their life at this point.
But yeah, the point of seeing Andor care for somebody, I think, was really important, because he's with Olaf until Olaf dies. Which, like, he carries him, he holds him.
Yeah, he does not leave him until the guard forcibly makes him.
Yeah.
Which you brought up earlier, how important this is to Andor's story, and I really think that this arc is Andor's call to action to join the rebellion. We've seen him fighting the Empire in his own way, but it was never about rebelling. It was just making his way through the galaxy. Even the Eldani arc was just about making a quick buck. But this is truly what incentivizes him to join the rebellion, and I love this arc so much for how they transition Andor from just this guy to this rebel spy.
The minute that they figure out where Olaf's dying and the medtech comes down, and he's like, I think the medtech knew that Olaf was gone the moment he showed up, and he was just kind of waiting for the moment that he could tell them, like, you're never getting out of here, because we figure out that the man was released on like level 4 and then found himself back on level 2 the same day, and that's what that massive power surge was, because they wiped a whole floor.
Right, which I really love how this episode built towards this reveal, because every time they were in the prison, people were talking about what's happening on 2, and then we finally found out, and what a major mistake on the Empire's part.
Yeah, but I think it goes to something that Andor says in the episode. I had it and I lost it. Oh, where he says they may be at the tables or something, or maybe it's just him and Kino speaking when they're back in their pods, like their little sleeping area. Mm-hmm. It may have been then where he's like, we're cheaper than droids, easier to replace.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was a great moment.
Yeah, I agree. And my one issue with this whole scenario is the Empire assumedly meant to move this prisoner from Narkina 5 to a different work prison. Wouldn't he, like, if this guy was supposed to be released and then just, like, went to another prison, wouldn't he have just told the people at that prison instead that he was just moved from one prison to another when he thought he was being released? And wouldn't they have had the exact same problem at this new prison? I've always kind of struggled with this a little bit.
No, I don't think they were ever going to move him to a new prison. I think they've been doing this shell game for quite some time. Because earlier in the episode, one time whenever they're transitioning from their pods to the work floor and they're doing the sign language, Kino gets upset because everybody starts freaking out. It's whenever they first start hearing about what happened on level 2.
Right.
And he's like, everybody just needs to shut up. He's like, do you have any idea the amount of time it takes one word to reach our level? And he's like, how do you even know it's accurate? How do you even know? So I think this shell game of quote unquote releasing prisoners once their sentence is up and just putting them on a different floor has been going around a while. I think this boiling point, obviously, in order to move the story along, it had to have happened while Andor was there. But I don't think this is the first time this situation has occurred. I just think it's the first time that it's reached this tipping point to where somebody finally like went crazy and was like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. Like,
Gotcha. Like maybe the guards shook him down and said, if you say anything, we'll kill you. And before the people have stayed silent, but not this time.
I don't even think the guards do anything. I just think they just swap them around, and then if somebody says something, just fry them, because now they've got PORD. Like, there's more prisoners coming every day. They don't have to. It's exactly why I said Andor's line a moment ago. You know, they can replace them easily. You know, there's no shortage of them.
Right. My only counter, and the reason I think that they're switching prisoners between prisons, is because we know from, I think it was last episode or the very end of episode 6? What are we on? 9? Oh, so episode 7, that there are multiple prison planets.
Yeah.
Because they were sorting the prisoners from the party planet Andor was on and sending them to different planets.
Yeah, I think it just, they're sorted for their skills. Because we know the Empire did that. The Wookiees worked on like really intricate technological components of the Death Star. The Geonosians built the frame and everything because they were also very scientifically inclined somehow. And there was a great number of them. So I just think they were sorted based on their abilities. And then I think once you go there, you don't ever leave. Like, I don't think they're transporting people back and forth to places. I mean, they might be, but I think the whole idea of nobody's listening is the fact that they're just being sent to these places and then silence.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't care if you find out what's going on because nobody is listening.
Another thought that just came to mind is it's possible that before PORD that they were releasing prisoners.
They were, well, either releasing them or transitioning them to other camps.
Right, and now that PORD is happening, there's no need.
Yeah. That's how I would do it.
So I still wish we would have got a little more clarity on all of that, but we are viewing this from the perspective of a prisoner, from Andor's perspective, who wouldn't know all the intricate details. So we've talked about it a little bit, but I really like how through this episode, Andor is pushing Kino, join us. And as the mystery of what happened on level 2 is building, so is Kino on his journey to joining the prison rebels, essentially. And when they find out the truth, we get that final line. Andor's been asking him multiple times, how many guards, how many guards? And Kino finally says, no more than 12 on a level.
Mm-hmm. It was a great moment. Because you see the change in his eyes.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cyril stalking Daedra?
Yeah, a little creepy, which I think helps highlight how obsessive he is.
I think it's exactly how a semi-autistic, big ego but small self-respect and self-confidence person would approach a female.
Yeah, which
or anyone of the opposite sex or whatever sex they like.
Yes.
Because I definitely think he has a thing for Daedra.
Oh, for sure. And I just want to clarify, like, autistic people in general really struggle with dating. But I also think a big part of it is the emotional stunting that happened from his abusive mother growing up plays a large part into that as well.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just his mannerisms just remind me of someone that is like on the spectrum, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
He's hilarious. That whole scene between them, I just find so funny. Mm-hmm. Of where she's like, I think she's kind of into it though. I think a small part of her is into it.
Dude, when she's like, if you ever come back, I'll have you locked up. And then she walks away and he just kind of like smirks.
Yeah, I think she's kind of into it.
Yep. I also think that, yes, he's stalking her. That's weird. But we also get to see how unhealthy this is by the way he grabs her. Like, the show makes a point to do a close-up of his hand roughly grabbing her arm to stop her. This isn't a meet cute. This is
a stalking.
Yeah.
Because she's like, how do you know that I would be walking to work at this time? And he's like, sometimes I come here and watch you walk to work every day. Just sometimes, though. Not always.
Only a little bit. I don't have a notebook with your routine in it. What are you talking about?
My mom hasn't pointed out that I leave early in the morning and come back late at night.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about his mom.
Yeah, that's one of the little tidbits I was saving.
You ready to move to that, or do you have anything else on Cyril and
no,
Daedra?
I just wanted to bring up Cyril's stalking of Daedra and how interesting I thought it was.
Important point. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, this scene with his mom pisses me off so much. A great scene again, but she's just berating him, and then he's like, I got a promotion, and she just gets that creepy little smile and like runs up to him and starts congratulating him and talking about Uncle Harlow. And man, it just pissed me off. That is not.
But he was lying. He didn't get a promotion.
I thought he didn't. Because
did he?
Yeah.
Did he last episode and I missed it?
I don't think he did last episode, but in this episode, that's what him and Daedra talk about. That's the big reason he's like, I wanted to come here to thank you for the promotion.
That's right. I couldn't remember if he was using that as an out with his mother to justify his comings and goings, or if he had actually been promoted. Because I remember the conversation between him and Daedra, and it sounded more like I didn't know if he got promoted or if him getting out of stealing data pads and such and being good at work, like him getting out of that situation because of Daedra, he just told his mom he got a promotion.
Yeah. I think that he did get a promotion, but it doesn't affect his time. I think he is lying to his mother so he doesn't have to spend as much time at home.
He's just bird watching.
Daedra watching. Tuck and I talked about it a little bit last week, and I know you're not the biggest Rogue One fan, but how do you feel about Melshi being on Andor's table?
5?
Yeah.
I don't remember Melshi at all.
So
and I know you said he's not like a big character.
Yeah. He's bald, I think, in Rogue One, but he also has a hat on most of the time, so maybe he's not bald. But yeah, no, not a major character, but I thought it was a really cool, like, cameo character that fit for the story, if that makes sense.
Right. They didn't go out of their way to connect Andor to here, but...
Right.
Did
And
him and Melshi interact at all?
Melshi is one of the ones... Well, he's on Andor's table in Andor, and he's one of the rebels that goes with Andor on the final Scarif mission. So him being in Narkina 5 with Andor adds weight to him joining this suicidal mission to get the Death Star plan with Andor.
It's because he's already seen him, pull off an impossible task. He's got some faith in this guy.
Exactly. I said I was forgetting something about the prison. I think that was it. Oh, Andor's little cubby. He's like cutting away at a pipe.
Yeah.
And the other guy on his table, they're actively talking about how to escape. So neither of these scenes were major, but it's showing that Andor is actively working to make this prison riot happen. It's not just something that, like, he snaps his finger and it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only other thing I have is I find Paragatz, the lead ISB guy of this little sect of the ISB, I find him very interesting because the way they play him, it almost feels like he could be a rebel spy.
Okay. Like how he puts down their ideas when they try and connect things.
But he also encourages Daedra's ideas.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, okay, follow this trail, but not this one.
Right. Yeah.
This isn't worth our time, but yes, you need to keep pursuing this. I mean, I don't know if he ever turns or whatever, what his real story is, but I just find his character just quite interesting in how he's portrayed. And it's from last week, but they're calling Luthen Axis.
Right.
I find it interesting, these, it's not geometry, but like the terms that they have for certain rebel leaders. Like we know Ahsoka's is Fulcrum, that's also used by others. And then Luthen's is Axis, and just like kind of how those words connect.
Yeah.
I think it's a subtle thing, but I think it also helps connect dots in the Star Wars universe. Just those words.
I agree. No, I think with Partagaz here, I think it's showing him as a competent leader, right? Because he doesn't just believe his team when they say these things, especially when they seem very not connected, but he's open to listening to them. And once they provide a little more evidence, he's willing to listen and pursue these. Like Daedra brings up Andor being a part of Aldhani, and he's like, no, that's crazy. And then her assistant brings up the clean-shaven beard, and he's like, okay, maybe. Yeah, let's pursue this, see what happens.
Yeah, but that's also such a loose thing. Like, Andor has a beard most of the time, but everybody in Aldhani was described as clean-shaven.
Well,
yes,
but I think
let's track that.
It was also the notes that he showed up with money a day or two after Aldhani.
Yeah.
Like, he disappeared from Ferrix. The Aldhani heist happened. He reappeared on Ferrix with money and then disappeared again. I think that's the big thing. I think the beard thing was just more like a cherry on top.
Yeah, he was just trying to help Daedra. Oh, one other thing. The creepy blonde Empire guy that's on Ferrix, the one that was asking for the title change. He was like, I want to hang Salmon.
Right.
Or what's
Show them
left
who's
of
in
him.
charge. Yeah.
And like, this guy is sick.
Yeah, he's sick with power. Is that the right phrase?
He's got something.
Yeah. People like that don't need to be in the government.
Yeah, he's a creepy dude.
Yeah. Oh, they captured a pilot from I'm gonna call him
Rebel
Krieger,
pilot, yeah.
which that is the group that last episode Luthen was trying to get Saw's partisans to go help. It's very possible that Saw refusing to help may have saved the partisans if the Empire has caught one of this other Rebel Cell's pilots. I can't remember how this all played out, but I did want to make a note of it.
Mm-hmm. And their plan to stage an accident so they can track the rebel cell, hopefully.
Yeah, drift that ship into traffic.
Murder him while he's in prison, throw him in the ship, make it look like an accident.
Well, I think that's everything I had.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, audience, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. And if you could leave us a review wherever you're listening, that would be phenomenal. For the Animal Squadron, this has been MotherGoose.
And HouseDog.
Goodbye, everybody.
Time to enable shocking floors. Get on program. Goodbye, everyone.